To this now, the Theatre Benevolent Fund is appealing to South Africans to help struggling artists during this pandemic. The organisation is raising funds to support artists left without financial support or even a meal during this difficult time. For more on that campaign now, I'm joined by well-known actress and singer and all-round arts activist, Elsabe Zietsman. Elsabe, thank you so much for joining me so early this morning. You sent out a tweet yesterday, and what struck me is that you said, I know everybody's got a lot on their plate right now. There's only so much that can go around. But if you can, please help us to be able to help those in the arts world that have been left destitute, for want of a better word. Tell us what you're hearing from those who are in need in your artistic community right now.
I spoke to Gert van Niekerk last night, who is the chairperson of the TBF. And he said to me that since they've made this known, they've been inundated with calls. Some people have received funds from the government, but it was only people who had already signed contracts. Now, I had, for instance, 3 productions that were hanging in the air that I haven't had any signed productions for, and nothing. Kaka and Ka, that was cancelled, which is the big art festival down in Oudtshoorn. I was going to debut a new work there, and everything got cancelled. And the only contract that I have said that it was a door deal. So that's it. So there are a lot of people with absolutely no income, people that have been living from week to week. I'm thank goodness, in a good position that I'm all right. I can look after myself. But there are so many artists that just can't. There is just nothing. They don't have anything. And what the TBF has done is they've teamed up with one of our big chain stores, and they send a e-wallet directly to your phone that can be redeemed straight at the supermarket for those people that are completely destitute and that need something to eat. You know, I think, Marcel, you and I might even have spoken about it before, that I've said, you know, a country without art is a very, very poor country. And as we are poor. And if we're going to lose our artists as well,
Yeah, it's a conversation we've been having since lockdown really started, or even once we heard it was going to happen, because one of the industries that was the hardest hit almost immediately were those in the arts and entertainment world. But tell me a bit more about the work being done by the Theatre Benevolent Fund, because it's not something that's been launched just for this pandemic. It's an organization that was launched in the 60s already and has already been taking care of individuals in all professionals connected to the performing arts at different stages, but specifically those who are in dire need. And unfortunately, those numbers have now been swelled by this specific crisis, isn't it?
Absolutely so. The Theatre Benevolent, both of us are having trouble with that one this morning.
Indeed.
The Theatre Benevolent Fund has been, as you said, has been there since the 60s, and it has been looking after destitute actors. Very, very few actors have a pension, because none of us ever worked for a salary. There are no more arts councils in South Africa, so most people are freelancers. And freelancers very, very seldom have extra money to put away towards a pension or something like that. And very often when a performer can't perform anymore, they are without any income. So that has been what the Theatre Benevolent Fund had been used for mainly. And obviously also when an artist gets ill, and because most artists also don't have medical aid. So that's what they have been looking after. This is a very special drive as a separate part of them. And this time it's not everybody in theatre. It's not for technicians, because the technicians and union has organized something by themselves. This is for the performers.
Now, we've said repeatedly during this time, Elsabe, that it's during times like these that we really do need our artists, just to provide with the much-needed inspiration and perhaps to use their craft to put into words, to song, to art, what we are feeling during this time as a country. This is nothing new to you, the activism work that you're doing. You have brought a number of children up through the arts, making sure that you've raised funds so that they can go to the performing arts school, so that they can get the education that they need to make a life for themselves in the arts. What is your appeal to people during this time, keeping in mind the importance of the arts, not just now, but even more so at this time?
Yeah, I think people should maybe just think, what would they have done in the past 4 weeks without artists? What would they have listened to? What would they have watched if there were no artists? That's firstly. And then secondly, as I said in my tweet yesterday, I know and I understand we are all really stretched to the limit. There are a lot of people without salaries out there, small businesses, everything. I know it's hard. It's incredibly hard. You know, all my money for the foundation, for the Doyley Foundation, also dried up, because it was mainly small businesses that were looking after, that were helping me in the Doyley Foundation and the kids that I'm looking after. So I understand there is very, very little, but it's a huge appeal to, it doesn't matter how small it is, but just to help, to donate, to help those actors and those performers that are completely destitute. It doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't matter how big it is. Whatever help can be gotten would be fantastic.
Elsa, very quickly before I let you go, if people are watching right now and they want to heed your call, where can they find out details about the Theatre Benevolent Fund and how they can make a contribution?
This now you catching me unawares. I cannot give it to you out at the top of my head, but people are more than welcome to direct message me on Twitter. And I will respond immediately, or they can just Google the Theatre Benevolent Fund. But if they do make a donation, just to be very sure to say COVID-19, because that money, those donations will only be used for those actors that are destitute now, and it won't go into the main fund.
Okay, great. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Elsa Zetsman there, making an appeal to South Africans that if they can, even during this difficult time, to think about making a contribution to the Theatre Benevolent Fund. And as we've said before, the arts world has been more important now than ever before, and many of them really do need our help.